This is Ian with Virmuze. I'm here to do one of the first of a few screencasts to sort of explain how Virmuze works, how to sign up, how to fill out your profile, how to create your first museum, how to create your first exhibit. Now, all of this stuff is going to be empty. I'm not going to fill anything in yet because that'll be on the next screencast. That's how to actually use the editor. But let's just get started. So first of all, the way it's looking right now is a little smaller than normal because I've shrunk the screen in order to make this video. So the interface here is going to be the way it normally would show up on an iPad. But as you see here, we can sign up and log in. Normally, they'd just be written out here if you're using it on a regular web browser. But it's the same. It works the exact same way. So sign up, and I'm going to fill my name out here. It already remembered me. And yep, ian@virmuze.com. I'm going to become, let's see, Mr. Ian Man. Yes, I am a Mr. Ian Man. I just thought of that earlier. I hope you appreciate it. Anyhow, going down here to the password, I'm just going to, first of all, you can see all the different requirements here. Hopefully they're not too bad. The nice thing about it is at least it shows you everything that's X is a problem it still has. As soon as it's green, that means it's acceptable. So I'm going to just fill out this password with an OK password. At least it satisfies all of these conditions. I'm going to do the same thing here. And coming down below, I am going to accept the privacy policy and terms of service, which are viewable there, and they're compatible with GDPR and all that. So register. Now we see that the user's been created. Now, until I actually confirm the email in my email, I will not be able to create anything. I will be able to fill out my profile. I will be able to do other things, but we may as well just do the profile then. So now you see I have discover, newsfeed follows, my profile, and log out. Let's just go to my profile to start. We'll cover these later. So as you see, I've got my generic picture here. I tried to be clever, this picture here, because it can look like one of two things. It can either look like a bald man or a woman with long yellow hair. As you see, it shows how many followers, it shows my name, it has my email. It shows that the gray means I have not yet confirmed the email. And I have the option. I can put in my phone, location, education, date of birth. I can put all these things in, and I can also make them visible or not to other people. So for example, I can put my phone number in if I want to have it on the sites in case people need to contact me for any reason. And then I can click the eye to see whether or not it's actually viewable. If the eye is normal, then it's viewable to anybody on Virmuze. If it's not, then it's not. This is the willing to contribute. Just means if you're willing to allow other people to invite you to help them with their exhibits. Now we have a short bio. This is just whatever you want to write. Nothing really to it. And so coming back up here, I'm going to go and check my email now. There is an email here. There's actually a previous one from an attempt at this demo before. And it's asking me to confirm the account. It's just a standard email confirm. I confirm it, and my account has been confirmed successfully. So now when I go back in and I refresh it, it now shows a check mark, and the confirm button is gone. That confirm button is if the email didn't get sent and you want to try again. If by any chance that email doesn't go through, sometimes we have issues with our mail servers not being able to reach everything. You can please just contact us. There's an email link at the bottom here. You can hit us up on the Facebook page, but email is probably the easiest. It's info@virmuze.com, or you can leave feedback. So we have here the basics. I can now change my photo, standard sort of thing. There's a decent, okay picture of me, and we're done. So it actually, you don't even have to save it. It's already there. So in order to get started, let's say create a museum. If you notice, that was on the profile page. So here we have a museum photo. I'm going to start with a fun example. It's a joke one. It shows cakes, so the Museum of Cake Sculpture. You can either upload your own photo, so if you have your own picture, or you can use it from Unsplash. Unsplash is this great site with free photos. The only thing that they gently request is that you credit the photographer, so we've built that in. So if you click on Unsplash, we can go here, do a search for cake, and just pick a cake photo. Let's see. I don't know what we got here. There's some donuts. Let's just take that. So now we have the section where you just need to crop the icon. This is the one that appears in the list of museums. So this is a square. It will appear in the list. You can rotate it. And this is a preview of how it'll look. You just say next. And now this part is the banner. So for this, you just need to stretch it out. And looking here, again, this will look a lot bigger on a normal computer monitor. I'm just using it in a small thing to get this visible for the video. So next. And now the museum name, I've already entered it before, was the Museum of Cake Sculpture. It doesn't actually have a URL, but I'm just going to pretend it does. Now this is a section, is this virtual museum also a live museum? We didn't know what to call a non-online museum. It gets tricky because you can have an online course, but what is the opposite of that? A real-life course, a brick-and-mortar course, a real university course? Same thing with museums. What's the opposite of a virtual museum or an online museum? So we just put select yes if your museum is one you can physically visit. This allows you to add visiting hours, information, and hours. So we can do that. We'll just pretend this is a real one for now. Museum type, this is less important. This was sort of a relic of what we were originally working with in case people wanted to sell artwork on it. We haven't gotten there yet, but this will work with in the search if you want to label it as a gallery. This is an age gate, so just in case you want to put things on there that might not be appropriate for people under the age of 18. If there's nudity, if there's any adult themes or anything sexual, that sort of thing, you can set it to yes. And what that'll do is it'll blur it and it will not show up in searches, or it won't display itself for anybody who hasn't explicitly stated that they're over the age of 18. Museum location, this is again for if you've got a live museum. I can just say, I don't know, London. We can put whatever we want there. The museum hours, this is again only for if it's a live museum. This is a really fun little widget here that we've got. It defaults to Monday to Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturday and Sunday close, just sort of regular business hours. But what you can do, it's quite fun. You can actually drag and drop everything, and you see in the top left there, the hours change. So now the idea of this is suppose you want to have a lunch break. So you can say, I'm going to open from, I don't know, let's take a early lunch at, so we got 9 to 11 and 12 to 6. So that's how you can sort of just drag and drop to have your hours. If you're open on the weekend, maybe you're open late on the weekend, but we're closed Sunday. This part here, all the contact stuff, this is completely optional. This is if you want to be able to be contacted about the stuff you create. Virmuze doesn't have any messaging built into it, at least yet. So for that reason, if somebody wanted to contact you and say, hey, I want to help you with your museum, I want to get involved, or I want to find out more, this is the contact. This is an optional phone number. Again, you can leave these blank. You can put whatever you want there. Museum category is important because this will show up for people who are looking at their feeds to see what museums have changed. Obviously, this is going to be in the food category since we're talking about cakes. Now, a description for this museum, I'm going to be very lazy and just put a single sentence. Amazing ways to decorate cakes. Obviously, you'd probably want to write a bit more in there. We've got up to 500 characters available. Tags, well, they're just tags. So cake, whoops. Food, pastry, yummy, dessert. You get the idea. These are for searching, and they actually will also appear in the meta tags when this thing saves the museum, which means that when Google crawls our site, these tags will alert Google as to what sort of things are in the museum. Now, the custom museum URL is the direct way to access it. So there's a 1 on the end here just because I've already created a different one. This is a copy of the Museum of Cake Sculpture that I will put a link to the actual one so you can see it. And I say actual because it's not really a real museum. It's full of a lot of Wikipedia text and just random images, but it's a good example. So as you see, the URL is constructed just like this. It's virmuze.com, then M for museum, and then the name of the museum. And you can change this if you want. We could put an S on it or something if you want to do it that way instead. And so create museum. Now we have this very nice looking graphic from the top. It's taken the banner and fit it exactly to how it should. And then we have a couple things here under the actual exhibit. First of all, you can see it added the credits for the image and put the location, and there's a like button. The like buttons are, the intention is to be able to filter the higher quality stuff. So the more people like your page, the higher it will appear in searches, and ideally it will curate which museums become more visible. So as you see, we have a list of exhibits. There are currently none. We have about the museum. This is just, we just put our one sentence here and the link to a fictional website. News is fun. It's basically just like a Facebook wall. You can put whatever you want in here. We're new here. And you can add a photo if you want. Well, that's a picture of Elmo. And publish. And it has a nice little pop-up. Guestbook is exactly that. The reason we can't write anything is because we own the museum. So the only people who can write in this are other users. Discuss on Reddit is if you want to submit the museum to Reddit, it will put it into our Virmuze subreddit, and then it will automatically create the entry if you want to have the link for Reddit right on the museum to have additional commenting. So one more thing we have here is we've also got museum category. You can see we put it in the food. It's a museum, not a gallery. Really not important. These are the hours that we created using that little tool. This is the list of exhibits that's completely empty right now. And this is a link to my profile, and this is a link to contributors. Contributors are neat. You can invite somebody else to help you with your museum. They will have full rights to edit whatever they want. So make sure that it's somebody you trust, because right now we don't have it refined to the level where you can do it per exhibit or anything. You just invite somebody to help you with the entire museum. So let's add myself, my actual account. And then I go add contributor, and boom, there I am. So now my other account actually has the full rights to edit this. Then we got the tags and the edits. So let's take a look. Create new exhibit. This is a very similar form. Exhibit name. So let's take a look what we got here. I'm just going to make one called the fondant exhibit. And again, we have to choose a photo. So this time, you know what? I'm going to take my own file. Yeah, I can trim this actually a little bit. No need to have the... So there's the preview. This is a Wonder Woman cake. Now we can add photo credits if we want to. You don't have to. I mean, I took this photo, so I can just put Ian Kelk. I could put a link to my website, and I could put a link to where it's hosted on Flickr, but it's not. So I just put my name there for now. For the custom exhibit, as you see here, we've got virmuze.com/m for museum, the Museum of Cake Sculptures, /x for exhibit. Yes, X, exhibit. We decided to take the Pimp My Ride aspect of how to spell exhibit, and we're just adding the fondant exhibit to the end of it. So the full URL will be virmuze.com/m, the Museum of Cake Sculptures /x the fondant exhibit. And then we have it loading for a second, and then that's it. This is our canvas, and we will cover this in the next screencast. There's a lot you can do here. There's the info. This is what we just filled in. There's the content. And now we also have a couple options at the bottom. One thing you can do is you can discard changes. This will just cancel everything and revert to whatever it was saved. Since we never saved this, we'll probably lose it. We can save it as a draft and close it. Now, drafts are not published. They're not visible to anybody. So you want to do this until essentially you've got it ready to a point where you want people to see it. Preview is just to preview it. This, because we're in an editor view, if I hit preview, it will display it how it will display when it's actually done. It shows it in draft at the top, but obviously it's empty. And I can go back to editing, I can save it and close, or I can publish it. We'll cover all that afterwards. So save, draft, and close. And that is it for now. That covers basically all of the generals of how to create an initial museum and how to create your first exhibit. Oh, well, actually, there's one more thing I can do. I can create a random other exhibit here, just to show one other neat thing. This is how to order your exhibits. So if I'm in the Museum of Cake Sculpture, you see I have a list of exhibits here. They're both grayed out because they're in draft, but I can still, suppose I want the fondant exhibit to be in front of this nonsense one. I can take it, I can drag it up, and it will ask if I want to confirm the new order of them and hit OK. And it reloads, and there we have it. So on the next screencast, we'll cover how to actually use the editor and put some real content into this, because as fun as it is having empty exhibits, this is just setting it up. See you next time.